good, y'all? It's your boy, man, comedian Al Boogie with episode 3 of Talk Your Shit, man. We got a lot of stuff to get into today, man. First out the gate of Talk Your Shit is Omar F saying, selling your soul in the industry of entertainment. Well, my thoughts on this is, it's been going on for a long time, people selling their soul. And the whole thing of selling your soul is what would you do or what won't you do to get to the bag? And my thoughts is, you have to understand as a person what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And a lot of people sometimes find themselves making decisions based off the bag. And sometimes the bag ain't worth it. You gotta think about it. They gonna come back to get what they want out of you once they give you the bag. You gotta understand, if you gonna play the game, they gonna play the game. Hey, the whole skirt wearing situation, what they do is they'll put things in front of you and see what you don't mind doing. And once you don't mind doing it, they gonna keep having you do it. And once you wanna say stop, there ain't no stopping. The only thing stopping is gonna be you, because you ain't playing by their rules. That's how the industry play. But selling your soul, it starts even before Hollywood. You gotta think about it. The upbringing sometimes. Things that you basically know that's right and wrong sometimes. You could sell your soul earlier in life that will lead you up if you get the opportunity to make it big, to put you in situations to sell your soul later. That's just my thoughts on that. But we're gonna flush that on, man. Next topic of Talk Your Shit. Man, we're gonna talk about Steph Curry's wife. All respect to his wife first and foremost. But it must be a strain to grow up earlier than expected. You get married earlier because your significant other hits it big in a sport, entertainment, whatever it may be. Life changes rapidly. People gotta understand. For her, not taking one side or the other, because sometimes media will take it and flip it and make it seem like she on some trippy shit. But I don't think it's supposed to be about that. She's just telling it from her point of view of her life. And a lot of people sometimes, even people that have not made it big, get caught up in a situation where they have to grow up faster than expected. And along the way, when you have to grow up faster than expected, guarantee you're bound to make mistakes, bad calls, bad decisions. The whole principle of it is to have regulate and think back on things that you might have wanted to do differently. And I think that's the whole point of his wife speaking about not having a chance to be on her own, to create her own business, to have the working force, to do all the things she wanted to do before she met her significant other, which is Curry. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, I will say this though. Wanting attention can be a bad thing though. And sometimes thirsting for too much attention can cause friction. But as long as both parties in a relationship have an understanding, then there's no foul. But when she did say, I would like to have the same attention as my husband, if they get along and they cool with that, fine. But at the same time, to me, her being a woman, that's cool, but it comes with headache and consequences. Because you know how guys can be. When you get what you ask for the attention, then that puts pressure on Curry, depending on what kind of attention you can get or you might get. Hey, that's just my thoughts. Wish them the best. Hope everything's well with them. But that's my thoughts on talking shit, in my opinion, man. Hey, once again, these are my thoughts and opinions. None of my thoughts or opinions are nothing to stand on. It's just my thoughts and opinion. But for everybody out there, I always would like y'all to make sure y'all hit the notification button, subscribe, and hit that like and give me a thumbs up and comment. Because I would like to hear your opinion on a lot of topics that I talk about. Because I know they all resonate with everybody across the world and everybody in their own household. Because it ain't like none of us are going through it. You ain't got to be rich to be going through a lot of this shit that I talk about, man. But pushing forward, man, on Talk Your Shit, flush that on down. Next thing we're going to talk about, finesse 2 times and checking in. Now, this is crazy nowadays. I don't know when this began, but it's ridiculous. Why in the fuck, and I said why in the fuck, as a black man, should you have to check in to any state Because you're a rapper, you gotta check in. What the fuck does that got to do with shit? I'm free man. Once again, I say that in slow mo. I'm a free man. Finesse 2 times shouldn't have to check in with nobody. Like he said, if he had to check in with anybody, it's LAPD, not LA, my bad. It's the police. Because at the end of the day, hold on, let me check my phone one time because I might not get that thing right. Texas Ford Police Department. Oh, those motherfuckers you need to check in with. Because if you don't check in with them, they'll make sure they check in with you. And make sure if you don't check yourself correctly with them, they'll check your ass behind bars. So this whole checking in the state, this coast, that coast, man, get that shit out of here, man. What me coming into the state to do what I do, to perform, or give people what I do as far as my skills or my art has to do with you talking about I need to check in because you're a goon, because you're a thug? Man, we need to get off that shit. You don't say that shit when the upper tier in your gang or your mob or whoever's running shit tell you to check in. Everybody follow rules and regulations, but if I ain't part of your establishment, your gang, your clique, or any of that shit, I ain't checking in the shit. That's bullshit, man. That's just my thoughts on it. Now, it should never get to that point where somebody tells you should have to check in because you're doing entertainment or you're about to shoot a video. What the fuck? If you think about it, you should be happy that the brother pulled up. Because when people pull up, you know what it does for your state? Bring revenue, bring some money to all y'all's pocket. Not maybe literally to your own pocket, but it puts your city on the map to some degree. Why are we doing this? Black people, man, wake the fuck up and get off this petty bullshit, man. We staying divided ain't helping the cause. We always blaming the white man ain't always helping the cause. We need to have self-awareness of the bullshit that we keep setting ourselves up for. It gets to a point, we need to wake up, pay attention, refocus, and get on point. But hey, I'm gonna flesh that on down, man. Let's talk your shit. This is the second half of the show. Now we're gonna move on to black parenting and family life. Now, first topic that I'm gonna talk about is black fatherhood today with visibility, challenges, and changing the narrative. Let's not get it twisted. Ain't nobody perfect out here. When you have pros, you have cons. When you have good, you have bad. But we have to stop letting media try to portray us as black men that the narrative is we're not in our kids' life. If you really look at the real statistics instead of the media bullshit, you will see black men are in their kids' life more than ever. But the problem is media wants to put this diagram or this image that the black man is still absent from the family. Well, let me break this down to some degree. The only reason this all came about was some of the Jim Crow bullshit and plans they had years ago that they're still using today. Because somebody said it previous on another podcast, and I'll pick that podcast up later. And that brother who mentioned that, because he was right on point with that the whole thing was they offered our black women assistance. The reason that all came about is when down the road where they was talking about women's rights, somehow the message got mixed in like it had to deal with black women's rights. Let's get this understood. What you mean women's rights? Where we was dealing with Jim Crow, racism, slavery, equal opportunity. The black woman and black man wasn't getting no rights. So what you mean women's rights? That all had to deal with the white American woman not getting heard, not being seen with no rights, but her counterpart, the white Caucasian man. Now I know my history. From the beginning of time, they never had no rights. They only had to lay and obey. One more time, lay and obey. That's what that all came about. But what happened was they didn't like how the family structure of the urban black culture was, where we were structured community as one, from grandma, auntie, mama, so forth. We didn't have to have the money. Some things money can't buy, like family, like love, like care, respect, and being there for one another. But when that all came about, y'all broke it down with telling the black woman if she give up these things, you'll make sure you take care of them. And over time, the violence happens. But we'll get into that another subject on another Talk Your Shit. I don't want to go too deep into that because I've been talking about that all day. And I'm really, really into that subject and that situation. But I'm going to flush that on down. There's raising black kids in today's society, which is crazy to be honest. Because you got to teach pride. You got to teach confidence and resilience. Not saying that you never had to teach it before, but it's way different and it comes in so many different forms than what came in my era of the 80s and so forth. You gotta teach your kids about pride, when to stand up, when to fall back sometimes. And when you falling back doesn't make you a weak man or weak person. It's the art of war. You know the need to know when to fight, when to restrain yourself and watch the whole opposition play out to know what your next move is. And sometimes just know when to walk away. Because in this day and age, pride can get overused to a point where we have our kids priding themselves off a cliff into situations that they're not ready for, should not have to deal with at the time that they deal with them at times. Confidence. I'm a big believer on teaching my kids confidence from day one. Confidence helps build maturity. Confidence helps build morale for that person to believe in themselves. Now, does confidence get wavered from time to time? Yes, everybody's confidence gets wavered from time to time. Me included, nobody's above that. But if you get taught and help to build that confidence in that person, it's just like a 12-round fight. You might have that moment where you against the ropes and you second guessing yourself. But with all the stuff you've built from the family who's put it into you, the things you've learned around that family, especially a family that helps to build confidence in you, no matter if it's a full family, one person in the family, whoever it may be, it will help you build that resilience to pick yourself off the ground and keep it pushing. Now, resilience falls with the same thing with confidence. Because with resilience, it helps with confidence, and confidence helps with resilience. Because if you have the confidence, even if you may hit rock bottom, because we all fall flat on our face at times. And if you haven't, hey, big ups to you. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to have some trips and falls and some stumbles. That confidence helps build the resilience. The resilience helps build you to let you know that I might have lost it all, or I might have lost this battle, but there's a lot of war to keep going. And a war don't mean war with people. War is with yourself. The main person you're competing with is yourself. And they say doing jail time, even though I'm going off task just a little bit here, don't talk your shit. They say, doing jail time is hard. And that's true, it may be. I never did it. Be honest with you, don't want to do it. Try to stay far the fuck away from that. But my belief is living life outside them bars is 10 times harder. Because one thing for fucking sure, I'll tell you this much. When you in jail, you still got a cot and a meal and some shelter. Now, you might have somebody who's trying to shank you here and there. You might have somebody telling you what you got to do and what you can't do and what time you got to get up and what time you got to go to bed and shit and what time lights go out. But when you live in life, only person can tell you that is you. And if it all goes to shit, you got to still piece it back together. But I know one thing that comes with living on that planet called life and on them streets. Ain't no hot cotton in the middle if all shit goes bad. You homeless, ain't no shelter, ain't no food. You got out here scrape for what you can. So I think living is a lot more difficult than doing jail time. And I ain't saying nobody in jail ain't doing time and it ain't hard. But living and maintaining to stay away from that, to me, it's even a lot harder. Trying to keep that resilience once again. Trying to keep that confidence in yourself once again. That you don't have to fold to do something that will put you in there. But we're going to move forward. We're going to flush that on down the toilet to talk your shit. We're going to flush that on down the toilet to talk your shit. Next thing we're going to talk about is the roles of the black village that once was, that needs to be built again, in my opinion. The neighborhood black village was one of them things where, once again, it didn't take money. It took love. It took learning. It took history to build that village. That village was built from love, from blood, sweat, and tears, from the grannies and the grandpas that came even before them, that went through a little bit of hell and beyond. And everybody's story is different, but everybody have a story of going through them trenches before we even got to this era of where we at today. For me even be able to talk to y'all today about this and be free to be able to say what I'm saying to y'all today. That black village was important because the teachers came down from the roots of the beginning of what we knew, as far as we could know, of the slavery, the knowledge, the backhanding of what they would do to us, the learning of keeping the family structure together so we can give our offsprings after us a fighting chance to grow and raise and be great kings and queens. That's what all that was about. But once again, they put a monkey wrench in there and they divided the black families. Where now we still have black families and black villages, but they're not what they once were, and some of them are tainted for the fact that now we think that the black structure of a family and its whole goal is wealth in the bag. In my opinion, that ain't got shit to do with it. And if you think that's what it has to deal with, then you're misled and you need to trash that and go back to somebody who can give you a real knowledge of what it's really about. Because the bag don't take care of the knowledge. The knowledge is the key. The knowledge is the thing that helps keep the family structure together. If you know your history, you can never be fooled. If you know your history, nobody can play a joke or a trick on you. If you know your history, you can never be swayed and be played like bamboozled or played like a clown at the end of the day. The structure with the grannies and the grandfathers was to make sure that the youth had a fighting chance to understand what the predecessors tried to do to us so we would be better. But what happens is when you start putting value into material things and money, people lose sight of what's the real value. Money can come and go. Material shit can come and go. One thing that can never, ever leave is knowledge and well-being. And at the end of the day, I think we really need to get back to the black village family structure. We need to get off all the negative and divisive things that puts us in a rut where we've been in this story before, but we keep letting it play out. All this want to fight amongst each other. At the end of the day, all of it ain't supposed to get along. That is true. It ain't no kumbaya where everybody holds your hands. I ain't gonna put that out there. But it's simple too at times just to walk the fuck away. Everything ain't gotta come to fisticuffs. The black village made sure that it held itself accountable. If you got trouble down at Auntie Reese's house, you got in trouble about time you got to Aunt Margaret's house, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And these just names I'm making up. But I remember if I got trouble down the street at my friend's house, I was in trouble from her house on down. It was almost like being in a gauntlet, getting your ass whooped all the way down till you got to your mama's house. And by the time you got to your mama's house, you might not get a whooping by your mama because you ain't had no much ass left. Because everybody else took a chunk off of you, whatever foolish dumb shit you did. But nowadays we don't have that, because when you try to intervene, everybody feels either disrespected or you ain't got the right. And it ain't about right, but you can't have it both ways either. We can't have the black village and then people in the black village saying, mind your business, stay out of it. And then when something tragic goes on, why ain't nobody say nothing or do nothing? That's just my opinion on that situation of the black village. I feel like if we can start trying to bring that back together with the mom and pops, don't get me wrong, all relationships ain't gonna last. And all relationships ain't meant to last. But if we can act like adults and put our pettiness and childish bullshit to the side and act like adults when it comes to raising the next king or queen to be great in their own way, I think we'll get a lot further and we can really put our family structure as black people or urban people back together, man. We're gonna talk about Russell Westbrook real quick. Is he getting played by the NBA? Yes and no. Great player, different style type of player, but when you're boisterous and just like the Iverson effect, when you're having a hard time changing with the NBA as far as being that star player and now maybe have to come in off the bench or taking a role or less minutes, it can be hard on a player when you are one of the most, by damn near almost anybody in the league, you're the most hustling, most driven, most working hard player that don't never take a break, win, lose, or draw, miss 20 shots, make 20 shots player. I respect all of what you put in. But sometimes, this is just how the game rolls. But I just found out today, though. Salute to you, Russell Westbrook. I wish you the best. Just sign with the Kings. I don't care what your bag is, but you're with a team and you're still able to play the game you love, man. That's dope. Shout out to you. Wish you well on your journey. Hey, this is another episode of Talk Your Shit with your boy comedian Al Boogie. Make sure y'all tune in to the 30 and Up Boys YouTube channel and check out all our previous content from the 30 and Up Boys Smoked Out Shout Out podcast, from my new episodes to this current episode that'll be coming shortly to you of Talk Your Shit, with many more like Cocktails with Cool Reese, and coming soon, yeah, that's fire. Also, check out Smoked Out Shout Out podcast as moved to another podcast channel, which is the No Offense Network. You can check out our shows and many other shows on that network. Hey, it's your boy, comedian Al Boogie, man. Hope y'all enjoy. Once again, make sure y'all hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. And by the way, these comments here ain't my comments I'm standing on. It's just my opinions and my thoughts. Make sure in that comment bar, comment. Tell me your opinion. Tell me your thoughts. Because everybody's thoughts and opinions matter. I'll get up with y'all later. Peace. Salute. Gone.
Walk it like I talk it. Walk it like I talk it. Woo. Walk it like